Hi guys, balik lagi. This is your host Chandra and the guest for today is Natalie. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Natalie. Aku Natalie, tinggal di Bali, kerja di Bali. Apa lagi yang mau diintroduce?
And you are a businesswoman, kan?
Ya, business manager by day, public speaker by night, and by the weekend.
Oh, perfect. So yeah, I mean you are the speaker with most questions dari semua orang yang pernah aku bikin podcastnya. So many questions about you.
Thank you.
Ada beberapa yang open, so you know the questions in advance. Pertama adalah dari Krishna Kepa. Describe your ideal first date.
Kalau aku sih, I like conversation. So ideal first date will be having a nice dinner or have a nice lunch, and good conversation and good company.
Okay, so no movie on the first date ya?
Apa?
Nggak usah nonton film di bioskop ya?
I tried tapi nggak terlalu work out. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Alright guys, I'll set out for a nice dinner. Some few questions from Instagram. From Nadia, how to manage business during pandemic, Nadia?
Wow. How to manage business during pandemic ini benar-benar kayak jumpalitan banget ya. Hands on deck, all hands on deck. Jadi kalau aku boleh share cerita sedikit, bulan Maret tahun lalu waktu Bali benar-benar kayak kerasa impact COVID itu. Kebetulan client base kita, aku running a small garment manufacturing in Kuta. We have 20 staff dan client base kita kebanyakan itu di Caribbean. Jadi mereka banyak punya turis, rely on turis Amerika, terus juga ada beberapa di Australia, di Malaysia, di Belanda dan lain-lain. Tapi yang major client kita yang di Caribbean ini kena hit banget karena ada travel warning, ada lockdown. Dari bulan Maret tahun lalu, order yang tiap bulan tuh ada itu jadi zero, like zero. Dari dulunya ekspor beach dresses, terus all of the different kind of garments and accessories and merchandises abroad. Aku jualan masker, untungnya Rp2.000 satu masker. Dan aku bakal jualan masih Chandra juga nih.
Aku nggak beli sih, I'm not your customer I guess.
See, he doesn't even buy. Why am I here? Out of loyalty. Anyway, jadi kayak maksudnya aku benar-benar ngerasa, oh my gosh, dulu jualan seburuk-buruknya $2 dapat lah ya per baju gitu. Man, ini 2.000 men satu masker. Terus staff 20 orang, jadi benar-benar pas banget. Dan ini udah jalan 1 tahun kan. Udah sekarang kita masuk bulan April, jadi udah lewat 1 tahun. It's still a survival mode for the entire year gitu.
Really?
Jadi yeah, it's really like a real story karena orang lain kan lay off pegawai atau apa. Kita tetap berusaha keep semua pegawai kita 20 orang walaupun nggak terlalu banyak sih. Tapi tetap kita harus ada beberapa adjustment sih. Jadi how we manage is by adjusting our strategy and also adjusting our plan, while also actually asking ourselves what really important gitu, to keep employing people atau to keep our profit level gitu. So it's a trade off karena udah 1 tahun ini aku bleeding the company. I'm kind of like smiling now, but inside I was crying. My bank account, the zeros drop all the way. So yeah, how to manage and just understand what's important for you, whether it's the profit or the people or your sanity. Really make decision based on that and always adapt and adjust your strategy and your view, your plan depending on the situation biar kita juga bisa cope up all the time gitu sih.
It's a matter of priority. Next question from Krishna Mavira. Gimana rasanya masuk podcast Chandra?
Sebenarnya
Sebenarnya apa?
I don't really want to be here.
Kok gitu? Why?
Masuk podcast Chandra biasa aja sih. Cuma the reason why I want to the reason why I said yes karena aku kagum juga deh sama si Chandra. Aku sebenarnya udah punya planning mau bikin podcast. Udah record my own podcast, episode 1, episode 2. Tapi the perfectionist in me, aduh ininya belum bagus, antar aja apa jadi belum di launch teman-teman, ini sudah 4 bulan ya. And then tiba-tiba dia bilang, Natalie coba lihat YouTube aku nih. Terus dia nge-record cuma kayak duduk ongkang-ongkang kaki ngobrol-ngobrol, and then yang nonton 500. I'm like, I should just launch it. That's why I'm here to appreciate his just do it attitude.
There is no way you can do it any bukan worse ya. So I'm not necessarily saying my work is bad, tapi lebih what is it called? Acak adut.
Yeah, I mean the standard of excellence is different, ladies and gentlemen. You see his standard of excellence.
Jadi ini for your information, ini tetap di Starbucks, although different Starbucks. Jadi yang pertama di Starbucks, sekarang juga di Starbucks. Bedanya sekarang di ruang meeting, yang kemarin di depan toilet.
And then aku tanya sama Chan, are you sure rekam di tempat umum nggak pakai mic or something? It's okay, Nat, that's the concept. Okay, just do it. I should learn from it, and just do it.
Yeah. Apa bootstrapping concept. Alright, banyak nih pertanyaan terbuka kedua. What are your daily routines that contributes to your best self?
Wow, this is like a great question. And to be very honest, aku bisa membual ngomong tapi I'm gonna keep it real. To be very honest, it's hard for me to build a habit.
Interesting. I thought you're the habitual creature.
But I am a creature of habit. So once I am able to build a habit, it will stick.
So what's your habit?
Okay, so my daily habit is gratitude. Paling nggak tiap hari tuh. What?
No, because like if you ask the same question like me, I would say kebiasaanku adalah bangun jam 5 pagi gitu.
Exactly, right? Because I'm not a morning person.
Okay.
This is the habit that I will do it.
Okay.
This year, I'm gonna change from nocturnal to morning person.
You should learn from me again. I'm a very morning person.
Okay. Yeah.
So tadi gratitude.
Belum saya jawabannya. Yeah. So my daily habit kalau mau di itu ada gratitude. Jadi you can do gratitude by tiap orang beda-beda sih. Kalau aku sih because I believe in like spirituality. Jadi lewat doa, and then just like always wherever you are feeling thankful and say prayer. I think it's very important. Berdoa sama ini sih. Do your spiritual rutin, karena orang banyak kayak habit itu physical and then emotional atau apa, tapi kadang spiritualnya lupa.
Ya, aku benar-benar lupa sih. Wow, okay, thank you so much.
So, and then for you, I'm gonna prove to you that I can be a morning person this year.
Alright, let's see. Yeah. So Soma, hope that answers. Next question from your competitor, from Ben. How does you handle competition? Ini pertanyaan ini berbisa, saudara-saudara. Mereka sedang bersaing dan pertempuran selanjutnya hanya satu juara yang bisa maju ke babak selanjutnya.
By the way, that's the context of speech competition for people who don't understand. Because I understand how his brain works. It's here, and everywhere. Jadi how do I handle competition? I never thought about it before, but I realized that I am thriving in competition. I enjoy competition. I am quite a competitive person. So recently I joined an open speech competition outside of Toastmasters, because that's the community that we're both and also the one who asks questions involved in. So I joined like an open speech competition, and praise God, I won. And I felt so grateful and so so happy, and it felt addictive. So I'm kind of like thinking, this is good, man. I don't have to go find roller coaster. Just find some competition and just take part of it. If you win, you get the prize, and you get the money, you get the prestige, whatever it is, and then I like competition. I think healthy competition is important because it can push you to be much better. And once you are in the competition, when you're looking back, you realize that competition it's like, kalau di Indonesia kita bilang kawah candra di muka ya. Jadi yang kayak a bootstrap inkubator gitu kan.
Oh,
Ya bisnis inkubator, jadi kan biar lebih cepat. Kalau ini tuh kayak untuk our personal growth lebih cepat.
But to my knowledge you are not a competitor ya. I mean like aku kan compete dari I guess SMA gitu kan. And you to my knowledge karena kita sebenarnya temenan dari SMA. Aku SMP di SMA. Itu dulu kamu nggak terlalu seneng ya ikut kompetisi?
I think it's a matter of accessibility ya. Kayak dulu itu waktu zaman aku SMA, kuliah itu kompetisinya nggak heboh dan nggak se-open sekarang. Kalau sekarang kan kayak you buka HP di social media ada
kompetisi
ini ada ini. Kalau dulu kan lebih ke guru yang milihin. Terus kalau kita mau daftar uninya bilang nggak boleh, cuma ada 3 tim atau 2 tim ya kayak gitu-gitu.
Oh, I see. Tapi even di Toastmasters you're quite a late bloomer in terms of competition kan?
Yeah, I'm a lady of particular taste.
Alright.
Kalau gue nggak suka, gue males gitu.
Next question.
Jadi I was a little bit late, but you know better late than never.
Dari Titin, ini Toastmasters baru dari Jakarta.
Okay.
Ini temanku juga dari Titin. What are your best 3 rules of thumb to deliver great speeches like the one you usually deliver? Kok menjadi hamster gitu?
How do you know that? That's my ejekan waktu SMA.
Hamster?
Iya, hamtaro.
Hamster. Benar juga ya.
Yeah, why? Because of this big teeth.
Tapi kan udah pakai bracelet udah beres.
Yes, but the braces cannot even handle my big teeth. Anyway, back to the question. 3 rule of thumb ya.
Yeah, correct.
Number 1, find a universal message that resonate with you. Jadi nomor 1, cari message yang relatable buat orang-orang tapi juga yang benar-benar dari hati kamu. Contoh waktu aku bikin speech dan compete tahun 2019 di Toastmaster, it's a story about my dad. Jadi itu cerita tentang papi aku, how during his lifetime he was a kind man. Even after his passing, people remember him as a kind man. Jadi message yang aku dapat adalah, you know what, at the end of the day, no matter how smart, how rich, how successful you are, only kindness matter. Jadi that's what I use for the speech contest. And Chandra here helped me to refine the speech.
I'm her coach.
Yeah, and then this year I enter speech competition in Toastmaster again. I have my own message as well, and this year is about my mom. Jadinya kayak find one thing, one message that universal, personal to you, and then share it to the world. Number 2 is definitely structure. Jadi structure penting banget karena in my opinion, no matter how great of a message that you have or great delivery, if the substance are not there and the structure, if the substance and structure are not there, they cannot be received well by the audience. Jadi structure itu artinya kita punya clarity of thoughts dalam kita menulis speechnya itu. Dan ini nggak cuma buat speech ya, I think this is also applicable for presentation. If you're gonna do a work or business presentation, if you're gonna do like an essay, semuanya itu perlu struktur. Dan satu hal kalau aku lagi ngajarin menti aku tentang struktur, aku selalu bilang it's very important to have logical flow. Jadi gimana ide itu ngalir dari satu paragraf ke paragraf lainnya, dari satu poin ke poin yang berikutnya. Jadi yang kedua itu penting banget ada struktur dalam kita menulis skripnya itu. Yang ketiga adalah definitely practice. Ini nggak mungkin nggak, dan aku sadar sendiri sih. Kayak the more you practice, the more you get better. Dan practice ini penting banget, terutama saat you want to focus on your delivery of the speech gitu. Jadi your facial expression, the vocal variety, gestures, dan juga adapting to the online environment because everything now is online. Karena ada sedikit beda ya antara kita kasih speech offline sama online. Actually not sedikit sih, banyak bedanya. I think you know.
Yeah.
Which one do you prefer?
Offline, definitely offline.
I'm kind of like okay for both now.
Yeah, you're good at it.
Yeah,
you're good at it.
See, because I've been doing it since last year. Kayak aku mulai Zoom meeting ini dari March, April 2020. Jadi udah jalan 1 tahun. And if you ask me, gue udah I've been in a Zoom meeting even more than I've been on the dates. Kayak I've been on a Zoom meeting on what 200 Zoom meetings.
Dan nggak ada yang ngajak kamu dates dari sana ya?
Well, ada.
Oh nice.
But yeah, let's keep it personal. Not for public consumption.
Jadi di Toastmasters banyak cinta lokasi ya?
Whatever. Why don't you speak from your experience?
Next time when you're the host, I'm the guest. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we close it here. Okay, so Titin 3 hal. Number 1, universal message yang relatable buat kamu dan orang lain. Number 2 is have a good structure, logical flow, and then number 3 is practice, especially for the delivery.
Second question dari Titin, do you think giving concerns to how a speech is delivered will sacrifice the content of the speech? Enggak lah ya.
Say that again, sorry.
Kalau kita mikir cara delivery-nya itu bakal sacrifice the content, enggak lah ya.
Oh enggak, I think gini sih. Ini juga yang aku belajar ya, maksudnya. I realize that sometimes I have a tendency to exaggerate things, and sometimes itu jadi kurang natural. So some of the feedback I got is not make it natural. Jadi I would suggest to you first focus on the content. After you focus on the content, you will find the emotion or kayak the expression, what you want to deliver from that content to the audience. Baru nanti find the delivery yang sesuai dengan itu. Jadi jangan cari delivery dulu, tapi based on the content you develop it and then you do it.
Wow, so many nice inputs for fellow Toastmasters, especially the beginners ya.
Hire me. I'm open for a job. Thank you Adi. You know, any opportunity is an opportunity to promote yourself.
Yeah, she is well recommended. I do recommend her. Jadi masih dari Toastmasters from Surabaya, Heroes, dari Lisa.
Oh, hi Lisa.
Lisa, how do you manage your time?
Oh, this is a good question. Don't sleep. I'm just joking. Sleep well. Managing time is a real challenge ya for all of us. Karena sometimes one day I feel like, oh, I'm so productive, I manage my time well. Another day I feel like, oh shoot,
nonton Korea seharian.
This is so bad gitu. Kayak ini delay, ini nggak bisa fokus dan lain. So I think every day is a challenge juga, different challenge every day. Tapi rule of thumb atau ya, you know, what I do to manage time is kembali lagi ke prioritas sih. So what I did is in my phone kan ada kalender, jadi kalau ada event atau ada apa aku masukin di kalenderku dulu. So kayak yang sekarang ini Adi udah tanya dari minggu lalu, aku bilang you need to book me in advance. Jadi aku masukin ke kalenderku. Jadi itu buat aku bagus untuk planning my week atau bahkan my month in advance gitu. Oh ini tanggal sekian ada ini, tanggal sekian ini. Jadi kalau contoh bulan April ini aku udah di booking buat presentasi, my first international presentation.
Really?
Yeah.
Gimana?
Online with Naila. Naila itu kayak organisasi. Mereka mau ngadain speech contest buat orang Australia, tapi speech contestnya dalam bahasa Indonesia.
Wow.
So they invited me to do a master class there. So, thank God.
So it's not related to Toastmasters ya?
No, it's not related to Toastmasters, but they knew me because I'm a member of Toastmasters.
Wow.
Jadinya itu kayak contoh, maksudnya aku bisa planning in advance, terus ada speech contest juga aku masukin. Nah itu secara kayak bird's eye view ya, secara general. Kalau secara detailnya, mikronya, sehari-harinya, kalau aku sih lebih ke prioritas kerjaan. Misalnya, oh hari ini aku harus ngerjain ini. Habis itu aku berusaha kosongin waktu evening aku. Karena awal-awalnya itu aku stres banget karena nggak ada pembedaan. Ya nggak ada me time, terus nggak ada pembedaan antara waktu kerja sama waktu sendiri. Nanti kadang-kadang malam-malam ada aja tamu yang nanya, yang kayak hal sepele gitu. Oh jadi Natalie ini tambah 5 cm ya? Kayak misalnya, you know.
Ya apalagi kamu kan kalau klien kamu di Karibia pas kamu tidur pas mereka bangun ya? Iya,
tapi kalau mereka via email aja, karena mereka kan masih old fashion juga, nggak yang ini. Cuma I think kalau itu sih sekarang aku berusaha kalau udah jam 9 malam aku udah tutup WhatsApp-nya. Tutup WhatsApp. Maksudnya aku nggak balesin WhatsApp orang-orang unless it's urgent or something. And then 9 pagi baru aku buka lagi my phone. Karena kalau nggak, man, this is crazy, you know. You need to save your own sanity. Time-nya juga kalau malam, if you wanna do, dulu kan aku mikir kayak, aduh aku jangan inilah nonton apa itu addictive, kecanduan. Sometimes bisa, but if you want to have a lazy day after all of the hard works that you do or after whatever, I think you deserve it gitu. Sekarang aku lebih kayak make it flexible, really listen to what you wanna do. I think that's it.
Alright, next question also from Lisa. Katanya harga kargo naik ya, is it true?
Hah?
Freight, harga freight.
Oh iya.
Really? Karena kayak aku bukan di bisnis ekspor impor, cuman kalau from what I read kan harga minyak dunia tahun lalu sempat minus 39. Kok bisa harga kargo naik?
Logikanya di demand and supply.
Iya kan, tapi kan demand untuk transporting good menurun. How come the price is up?
Demand untuk transporting good menurun, price-nya up dong. Karena kan orang yang mau beli nggak terlalu banyak. Sementara si orang yang nawarin jasanya, jadi contoh gini, kalau aku misalnya mau kirim barang ke Amerika deh ngomong. Dulu satu hari ada berbagai airlines, 10 airlines. Sekarang setelah pandemi yang ada cuma 3.
Tujuhnya out of service.
Of course the price is increasing.
Oh gitu cara ngitungnya.
Iya, gitu. Of course the price is increasing kan, kayak DHL. Atau door to door ya, DHL, UPS, TNT semua. Mereka udah kasih info juga selama pandemi kita ada emergency surcharge, ada tambahan apa-apa. Because of that, the frequency is reduced.
Malah harganya naik.
Yeah, of course. You don't have a choice.
So how do you cope with that? Ya udah, bebankan aja biaya ke customer,
Bebankan biaya ke customer memang benar karena kan memang harus mereka yang bayar. Cuma kita berusaha kayak make it as optimum as possible. Kayak misalnya daripada ngirim 10 biji 2,3 kilo, dicasnya itu jadi 2,5 atau kadang jadi 3 kilo, ya kita tawarin mau tambahin lagi apa enggak atau dikurangin biar jadi 2 kilo. Yang hal simpel-simpel gitu deh. Just to give option, give like extra service.
Alright. Really, this is the last orang yang nanya. From Nia, your best friend.
Oh yay.
Nia is asking, what is your guilty pleasure? You guys are old friends. You guys should know the answer of this question.
Yeah, I think she knows it.
Which is?
I like watching Korean. What?
Mungkin she knows something that embarrassing. Want you to open up? No.
Are you?
I don't know. This is a question.
No, I'm just.
Watching Korea sounds safe.
Watching Korean variety show, and this could be like very addictive.
Apa?
Sometimes, enggak, maksudnya kadang it could be like very addictive. Jadi kadang-kadang, oh my gosh, udah 3 jam. Gitu. Terus another guilty pleasure, mungkin nggak banyak orang tahu, tapi I like to read, right? Tapi nggak cuma buku, tapi I also like to read comic. Ya, jadi dari waktu aku kecil aku suka baca komik. Sekarang komiknya online.
Tapi masih baca apa? I feel I have a shortage of manga. Sekarang aku cuma baca Dragon Ball.
Sekarang itu ya, tipe-tipenya tuh lebih ke yang either romance or adventure. Terus belakangan ini komik-komik itu banyak yang theme-nya reinkarnasi. Kayak I'm reincarnated inside of the book of this. So I'm like, oh shit. Everybody get the idea from the same source. Cuma like differently.
So you're still like a manga reader to this point ya?
Not really banget sih. Kan ini guilty pleasure kan?
I mean like even compared to me gitu kayak.
Soalnya gini deh.
Kayak 10 tahun lalu tuh aku bener-bener banyak baca manga gitu loh.
Soalnya
terus sekarang ada yang kayak nggak ada Shinchan lagi.
Substansi manga ini turun juga Kayak dulu kan manganya tuh ikonik.
Iya, Detektif Conan.
Yes, Detektif Conan itu kan.
Sampai sekarang belum tamat sih.
Dari zaman aku SD dia kecil. Gue udah umur segini dia masih kecil juga.
Sebenarnya kalau di dunia yang realistis sudah nikah aja ya, meran selisih 7 tahun kan ya.
Kayaknya dia udah beranak deh. Bukan nikah lagi. Doraemon itu
Doraemon,
kan kayak
Legends.
Legend. Even yang apa? Dulu aku baca Harlem Beats.
Iya, Harlem Beats bagus banget.
Itu kan kayak
Iya, nangis kan.
Mungkin kamu baca yang ninja apa? One Piece, Naruto. Kalau aku kan nggak terlalu baca yang itu, tapi aku baca yang lain-lain. Tapi yang dulu tuh bener-bener kayak wow.
Iya.
Even komik-komik bukan manga pun kayak aku baca Asterix Obelix.
Iya. Lucky Luke. Itu komik-komik Eropa.
Iya, even Donald and the company from Disney gitu. Itu semua kan masih kayak wow banget. Sekarang menurut aku sih banyak orang bisa jadi mangaka atau jadi kayak ilustrator kan. Jadi ceritanya itu
distorted.
To be very honest, ada sih menurut aku beberapa yang oke gitu, premisnya bagus dan itu yang aku baca lebih ke adventure, RPG, beberapa romance. Tapi nggak semuanya kayak gitu, banyak kan juga yang not really.
Alright, last question. What is that you are really obsessed with? From Nia. What is your obsession?
What am I obsessing on?
Yeah, I'm obsessed with money, for instance.
Oh yeah, money is for you, right?
For you too? Aren't we the same race?
That is very racist. Luckily, this video is open for racism, sexist comments, etc. because the host is him. This is a good question. I've never actually think about it.
Good question, Nia.
Yeah, obsession. Obsession can mean something that you're like really passionate or something. I can't really answer it honestly.
You have such a bland life.
Then put a salt on it.
Really? So your answer is none? Okay, that's an interesting.
Obsession, I think it's an extreme. It's like an extreme way to say things. Kalau passion, maybe like I can say that I'm passionate in what I'm doing now gitu kayak I feel like right now what I'm doing, whether it's working or speaking, doing online mentoring and coaching, menurut aku itu fulfilling sih. Jadi what is your passion used to be a question that I hated the most karena kayak nggak jelas gitu. Tapi now I find out that my passion is actually to build myself and build each other's ups gitu. Jadi,
actually a simpler question to be answered simpler is if you are what you are now, what will you be? Kalau kamu nggak jadi pengusaha, nggak jadi orang Toastmaster, kamu jadi apa? Kalau aku jadi historian. I can answer that. Okay, like if kalau aku bukan pengusaha, aku adalah seorang historian. So how do you answer that? If you are not you now, what are you?
I think I probably a teacher.
See, that's how you answer.
Yeah, because I like to share and I like to see people progress. Dan semenjak aku lumayan jalanin online coaching or speaking dari tahun kemarin, I found a different kind of joy kalau kita ngajarin orang, and then orang itu tuh progress. Karena kalau dalam bisnis kan kita rely on our staff untuk kerja, and then dari staff kita kirim barang ke customer sell to their own customers. Panjang gitu prosesnya untuk lihat some significant impact. Yang bisa kita lihat impactnya cuma karyawanku punya kehidupan, customerku bisnisnya jalan gitu, dan yang beli barangnya juga happy. Paling impactnya gitu. Tapi begitu kayak about education or about personal growth atau like learning in itself, karena aku suka belajar sih, so learning in itself it gives like instant and different kind of gratification, I guess. Jadi kalau mau dibilang passion, I'm passionate in learning, teaching, sharing. Probably.
Alright, that's about it. Wow, lots of passions for you.
Yay. Thank you guys.